girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done.
There we go. Welcome. Well, damn, I got nice close and personal on that camera. Good morning. Welcome back. Still feeling a little bit shitty, but not bad. Good enough to show up. Morning, everyone. Welcome back to the live stream. Welcome back to the channel. How I'm feeling? Just congested, man. Congested. That's really it. Just need some rest today. That's really all. Alrighty. Wait a few minutes for everyone to step in, guys. Yesterday, good day. Had the right idea yesterday. We talked about that 54.40, that 100 SMA. Really nice holds there off that 54.40. Got a little bit of upside off that, and then basically just channeled the entire day. So we have definitely seen the channel type action before CPI here. That's for sure, right? If we go to just let this sit here until we start. You guys can see S&P 500 futures. You definitely got your 54, right? You got your 54.40. Very clear there, right? One, demand there, higher low there. And then you got some of these highs that you're still having some struggle with. So, yeah, I mean, nice little step higher yesterday. Nice little step higher. 54.40. Hold above that, which was key. Nice little long off that yesterday. But we are still definitely up against some pretty heavy levels above, right? We're still up against the lows from Thursday of last week. We're still up against these rejections here. And we definitely can see that that is still sort of failing, right? So, very key. Just sort of, it looks like for now, just sort of some intraday scalps, right? That looks to be the story. If we go to the NASDAQ, right? 200 SMA holding strong. That's at 18,550. 200 SMA holding strong, right? You guys can see that. So as long as we're above that 200 SMA, I think it's a difficult short, right? I really don't think you want to start shorting into these 200 SMA levels, which is around that 18.5, 18.550, right? And then it's pretty much just the 18.740, the 18.850, some of these highs above to be cautious of. So really not much yesterday. Just sort of this channel trade within some of our levels. Right, here's your channel trade between 54.40 and 54.90, right? Pretty clear. You guys can see right there. That's all it was. Okay, that was my little brief review for you while we wait for some people to jump into the chat, jump into the live stream. If you guys could, press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and pull up the economic calendar. And here we go. So, all right, let's get started. I'm going to just start now or end early and go over really just the key important things of the day and then get out of here. So, let's just jump right into it. 8:30, guys. Tomorrow, we have CPI. That's very important. You guys can clearly see that. That is, without a doubt, the most important thing to be paying attention to. 8:30. Right there, CPI, pay attention to it. That's overnight, right? So overnight tonight, if you swing trade anything, you're swing trading through CPI. So make sure you know that. Crude oil inventories, 10-year bond auction as well tomorrow. And then Thursday, PPI. Unemployment claims, 30-year bond auction, and that's that. So biggest event of the week is tomorrow. Possibly some more sort of sideways action today. Very, very expected. There should be no surprises there. Let's jump right into the NASDAQ futures. We'll jump over the NASDAQ, the Qs, the ES, the SPY, and the IWM. So yesterday, you guys saw this 18.5 to 18.550 hold strong. This was some previous lows or previous highs right here, right? That held very strong yesterday, 18.5, 18.550. That is also, if we go to the 4-hour chart, a very important low. So I'm going to go ahead and go to here. I'm going to show you guys the larger term picture. So if we zoom out, right, we can see this 18.5, which is right here. Not only is a short-term level, but has some importance from in the past, pretty much the past year, right? Right here, 18.5, 18.5, 18.5, and again yesterday, 18.5. So very clear, right? That 18.5 is going to be a big spot. It's a big hold, it's a big demand, and it's definitely holding in the short term. So we have to respect that. So you can see right here, 18.5 yesterday, 18.5, very nice long, very nice little pop. So far, that level has definitely solidified itself, and that level is also the 200 SMA, right? On top of the 18.5 level being there, you also have the 200 SMA. So we can clearly see that this zone is going to probably continue to be a zone that the market tries to find buyers, in this area. So be aware of that. Be careful shorting into it. Make sure you know 18.5 is not just a little one-day level here. This is a 4-hour level. This is a daily chart level that goes back quite a while. So 18.5, 18.550, 200 SMA. That's big. Short-term supply here at 18.740. These are these previous lows that you are rejecting from yesterday. Very clear. Lows from Friday of last week turning into rejections. I'm going to go ahead and move this up like that. So you can see right there, right? You have that that Friday pre-market low that we flushed below. We came back into it yesterday. We could not break above it. So today, it's very clear. It is right here, 18,740 to around 18,500, right? That's your zone. This is your zone. This is where you're going to have to trade between unless we get a break and hold outside of this channel. If we don't, you're going to look for fades here, into here. You're going to look for longs here, back into here, and you're going to be a profit taker on every single move, right? If you try to long here and get that, you lose. If you try to short here and get that, you lose. So for now, it's the channel trade. You can see 18,740. You can see 18,500. Make sure you're aware of that. Make sure you know those two, that channel right there. If we get above 18,740 today, if we do see a little bit of a pop over 18,740 today, which is right here, if we do see the market get above it and hold above it, then you will get a push towards that 18,850. 18,850, 18,850, 850, 850, 850, 850. If you get above 740, you go to 850. And 850 is going to be your next major area to be cautious of. So 18,740, 18,850, those are your next two levels above. And I would not be shorting into lows. I would not be shorting into a hole. I would not be shorting the market right into these lows here. If you start to break below them, start to get weak below them, then sure. But I really don't see the reason to be shorting into the 200 SMA and this 18.5 level just yet. I would be more interested in the fades at these highs to see if there's any opportunities there. Let's go to the QQQ. We'll go to the, QQQ. So here's the Qs. Yesterday, at 450 pivot, that was the exact low of the day. That was a beautiful hold. We've been talking about that 450. You can see right here. That's that daily pivot level we've had on our charts. That's the 450 level. That's that daily chart. That's been major. 450, 450, 450, 450. This entire chart, the 450 level has been so crucial. So if we go down to the short-term time frames, we can see yesterday the exact low was that 450 right here. 450 on the dot right there. Look at that low. 450, exactly the low. That was where I took my longs, or at least stayed in my longs until, and it worked out very nicely. So today, if we take a look at this market, 450 is the major low. I would not be looking to short into this low. Doesn't make sense when you look at that daily chart. Not sure why you'd want to short into a daily chart low. So I'm not going to be doing that here. 452, that's also looks to be a level that's stepping up. The short that I would look for today is to see if we can short around this 458. That would really be the short. One of the only shorts I'd look for today is a short at 458. And if that doesn't set up, then things are changing here, because this needs to stay under 458 to continue this downside structure. All right. So if we want to see the markets continue lower, if we want to stay short and look for the pop and fade type trade, you need us to stay under 458. If we break back over 458, this is potentially going to invalidate that structure, and possibly this is going to go back into something like this, making a higher low, right? And turning this previous low back into a low. You don't want that if you're looking short. So if you're looking short, you want to continue to see previous lows turn into new highs, previous lows turn into new highs. And if that's the case, then 458 has to be that spot, right? That has to be that spot. So 458, 458, 458, that's a must reject if you want to see the market continue lower. If you reclaim 458 today, I would give up on the short side in the short term, right? Because a reclaim of 458 here can absolutely result in a little inverse head and shoulder formation, right? Causing more upside. You do not want this 458 to reclaim if you want to see the market go lower. If the 458 reclaims with strength today, I would absolutely look to see if there's some swings or some ideas, some sort of interesting ideas on the market reclaiming this previous low and possibly sort of catapulting itself back higher off of it. Possibly back into that 464 and maybe, who knows, maybe a little bit higher. So 458, very big. That's a major one today. I'd look for both sides off this trade. I'd look for the shorts here, and I would also look to see if it reclaims. I'd make sure you're open to both sides. That's going to be a very important level. Okay. S&P 500 futures. Very key, 5,400 and 5,440. If you guys follow me on X, which I hope you do. If you don't, I'm going to give myself a quick shout out here, and I hope that you do follow me because I think I provide some pretty interesting and good charts on there. I think that's a good place to be following. So we talked about, the trades from yesterday here, talked about my game plans, and right here, this is back on September 6th, we talked about 5,400 on ES, not the place to be chasing puts. The short was under 55.70 into this low. Major spot that I will be monitoring into next week. Would be surprised to see the market butter through this one. I'd say prepare for some battle here. This was 5,400 on the ES. This was the second that it was there, right? It was when it was at 54.28. When the market was trading there, that was our post. And that was, right? That was right here, right? And that is a major, a very useful thing to make sure you're paying attention to is how important the 5,400 level is, right? 5,400, 5,400, 5,400, 5,400. And look at this bounce so far, almost 100 points higher off this level so far. 5,400 to now 5,490. This is a very important bounce. And if you started to take puts, end the week on Friday last week, you're just getting manhandled. So that's a big level, and you need to be aware of that. There was some nice shorts, right, earlier in the week down into this level, no doubt, right? We took some of those shorts. We had those nice shorts right here, right, under 55.70. We had that nice rejection right here for that downside into this level. But once you catch that level, you got to be cautious of that sort of demand stepping up. So here, right, you guys can see yesterday, if I go to the 15-minute chart, here's the 15-minute. You guys can see 100 SMA holding strong, 5,400 holding strong, 1, 2, right, very clear, 5,440, 5,400 holding strong. Today, you are up against, really, in my opinion, it's this 5,493 to 5,510 area. That's the area I'd be watching. So 5,493, which is these lows right here. It's the lows from Thursday. And then I'd watch these highs right here and these lows at 55.10. This whole area looks tough to me. Not sure I would want to be long into this zone here. The long is right here. The long is right here, right? These are the longs if you're looking to try to trade this market higher. I would not look to long back into 54.93, back into 55.10. That's a zone that looks a little bit cautious. I'd be a little bit cautious of, right? If we go to this hourly chart, you can see previous lows, previous lows. You could definitely see a little bit of weakness in here. So I'd be cautious of that. Honestly, anything higher until 55.70 looks to be a tough spot, right? You could get this, 50 SMA rejections. You could get this, 20 SMA rejections. You could get maybe just up into 55.40, rejections there. So really anything in here just sort of doesn't get me that interested to be, aggressively long. Now, I am long right now overnight off of the 100 SMA on the ES. I'm long Nvidia. I'm long Amazon. I'm long the SMH. These are some swing trades that the group and I have taken. But I entered those before we've approached this zone that the ES is approaching now. So I feel comfortable being long, in the general lows around 54.40 here. But I don't know exactly what we're going to see as we approach this zone above. So be careful here today. 55.10 is really that big level to me. And I would continue to look to see if that 54.40 holds strong. SPY, pretty much the same thing. If we go to the 30-minute chart, you guys can see right here. 548, 548, 548, 548. That looks big. 548 in the 50 SMA. That looks like a tough spot today. So be cautious in there. I'd also be cautious right here at 551.50. And I'd also be cautious here at 555, right? So really this whole zone above gets a little bit questionable. Right here, 551.50, 555. Looks like a very tough area. So just be cautious all through here. I like 545. I like 542. as some levels to be watching today. You can see these are some interesting hold levels. Obviously, I think you probably don't make any, I would assume you don't get anything too major here before CPI. But for today, I would be watching the 548 and the 50 SMA here. You can possibly move it up to 549, like right around here. I'd make sure you're paying attention to that 50 SMA. That's definitely going to be a big spot. I would not want to be long right into the 50 SMA. So let's look for that, right? If you get above the 50 SMA, then you probably move into the 550, 150. And if you move above that, you're going back into the 555. So I think that's a very clear read right there. I'd say 549, 50 SMA. I'd say 545. I'd say 542. And I'd say 550, 150. And the 555. Guys, I'm not going to answer idiotic questions. Is traveling worth getting sick? What? All right, let's continue. IWM 207, 209, and 212. We have to get over 209 to see more upside. If you get over 209, you will get into 212. Okay, 209 into 212. Looks like a little bit of rejection yesterday here, just random. Around, yeah, I mean, you got a little bit there around that 210. But I would say 207 right here and the 100 SMA. That looks like the really big spot, right? Right there. 207 and the 100 SMA. That is the big spot to be watching. So, be eyes on that. Dow Jones, same level, 41,100. Same level. Right here, 41,100. It's been the same level and it still is, right? Look at this. 40. I haven't changed these levels since we talked about it last. 41,100 to 41,680. This looks like a channel if I've ever seen one. So, yeah, be aware of that. All right, guys. Again, I really wouldn't expect much before CPI. That's for sure, right? I really wouldn't expect much before CPI. CPI is definitely going to be the deciding factor here. Some nice upside coming in the pre-market here so far. Definitely off some nice key levels below, right? The S&P 500 futures, 100 SMA, definitely creating a little bit of upside here to start. But still feels like you're traveling into a very heavy sea. This is a very heavy area here that you're traveling up into. So I'd be very cautious, right? All these wick highs just feel, difficult to trust as you push higher. So be a little bit cautious chasing upside today. If you're going to trade upside today, I would always recommend trading upside after a pullback. That is why I took pullback longs yesterday. And people, absolutely lost their minds that I did that. But that is what I truly believe. If you're going to try to long this market, you're not going to want to long it as it pushes higher. You're not going to long a downtrending market into a squeeze higher and FOMO into it and then get slapped in the face. Okay, so I'd be careful chasing any kind of strong upside here. If we get pullbacks today, I'd look to possibly long that 5440. I'd look to maybe long that 5400, right? I'd look to maybe long a pullback on the Qs back towards maybe this 542 or this 452, maybe this 450 again. If we get those, I'd look to play that again. I would not be longing the QQQ right into 458. That's when retail traders think it looks good, and that's the worst possible trade. So I would not trade into 458 longs. I'd be very cautious there. That is a very major rejection point. This is probably the cleanest level to be watching today. Okay. 458 is probably the cleanest level to be watching today on the QQQ. That looks to be really a very clear line in the sand. 458 on the Qs and this 18,850 on the NASDAQ futures. That looks to be a very clear line in the sand today that I would be watching. 200 SMA on the NASDAQ futures looks to be a spot that you can look long off of. All right, let's get into some stocks. If you guys could, press that like button, subscribe to the channel. All right. Once again, just not feeling great today, guys. Been a little bit under the weather, but we're here. We're grinding. We're just going to get through the important stuff, ignore the idiots, and just get through it all. So here we go. 210 you guys can see right here, 210, 214, right? Some major levels there on Tesla. You guys can see right here, 210, 214, 20 SMA, and that 210 right there, right? Very nice levels. So Tesla is a very strange stock lately, right? This thing goes from strong to weak to strong to weak, strong to weak, like every few days, man. It's crazy how quickly it changes. So overall, if we look at the hourly chart, overall, Tesla has broken out of this downtrend, right? And has been sort of moving higher, generally, but with a lot of drama, right? A lot of drama. So we were in this downtrend, which we can see right here, right? This little downtrend here, which we did break through, and we got a nice squeeze. But man, it's so bipolar on every single day. If you were long like this 226 looking for more upside, you got absolutely smacked on Friday, which is just, that's tough, man. I mean, I couldn't even anticipate seeing this on a Friday after a very strong breakout move. So that is a tough one. That's why Tesla is just sort of dangerous as of late. But we can go ahead and look at the levels that are very clear here for now. Number one is 219. You guys can see right here, 219 is a very big level. So I would watch 219. Make sure to be watching that 219 level. That's definitely an important hold. If it holds 219, that could definitely see more upside. If it does pull back, I'd look for longs at 214. I'd look for longs at 210. So right here, 214, 210. Those are the two levels that I would look for pullbacks on if you get them on Tesla. I would also look to see if Tesla can hold over 219. If it can, then I think you could get that long. If you can stay above 219, then I would say you can move into that 226, possibly around that 50 SMA. All right. So 224, 226 zone is probably your next spot if you hold over 219. I'd watch that today. I'd look for the 219 hold. If it does, maybe some upside. If you fail the 219, then you can look to trade this thing back down to 214. But I'd also look to long off 214 at that 20 SMA, obviously depending on what the market does. Nvidia, I am long overnight. Nvidia, right here, longed Nvidia around 10 o'clock yesterday. I took September 13th 100 calls. I went in the money because I wanted to, have a nice, slow, not as decaying contract. I wanted to maintain these, and honestly, I might maintain these through expiration to buy more shares. But I bought some September 13th 100 calls, and by the way, I still hold my September 20th 100 calls. I am just looking to long off this 101.50. And I look to start a position with the idea of holding possibly through expiration off this 104. Right here, 104, 101.50. Two levels that held yesterday, which I started to like. We are getting sort of this grind higher. We need to get over 110 for me to really feel confident that Nvidia is going to move higher, right? Before 110 breaks, I still don't feel fully confident. This could still be a rejection play that moves lower. Right, so I am not fully confident that this is breaking out, but I am comfortable taking a little bit of risk here at the 104, right, and try to get this good entry point down in this zone with good risk reward. I do like the 101.50 level, and I'll show you why. 101.50, you guys can see right here, is this major daily low, which is definitely holding strong, so I do like that. And I also will like it at 97 as well. So, I am going to continue to long Nvidia, guys. It has never paid in the lifetime of Nvidia to stop buying shares, and I'm going to continue to do the same exact thing that has worked since the inception of Nvidia. So, going to continue to be, buying Nvidia on pullbacks. If Nvidia pulls back, 25%, then I'm going to look to pick up some shares. No doubt about that. I'm not scared of losing on shares. Going to continue to invest into that company. So, that's what I did a little bit of that yesterday down at the 101s, or I'm sorry, down at the 104s. I bought some shares yesterday as well. Going to continue to look for this area to be an opportunity. However, it is still very unknown because 110 and the 100 SMA is still above, right? If we get above 110 in the 100 SMA, then I fully think that I have a good entry point down here. Without that, it is very uncertain still, right? I still think you need to get over this 110. You need to get over that 100 SMA. If you do not, then I am still cautious of that moving lower. Okay. The other reason I bought Nvidia yesterday is because I like the SMH off the 200 SMA. I'm not going to be scared to try some longs off the 200 SMA on SMH. This again, let's not forget, is the SMH. It is the semiconductor sector. This is the sector that is the strongest sector on the market. This is the sector that caused the market to move higher. And if there is any situation where the market moves higher in the future, if you think the market can move higher at any point in the future, the SMH is probably the one that's driving it. So I'm not going to act like the semiconductors are gone. I'm not going to act like semiconductors are no longer important. They are still very important. And I like how it's cooled off. I like how people stop looking at them. I like how it's been a little bit of the hated sector as of late. So I'm looking to see if the 200 SMA is an opportunity to try to pick up some shares, pick up some semiconductor exposure, and that is what I've done. So just letting you know what I'm doing. 213, you can see right there. I like that a lot. 200 SMA. I really like how it's holding this previous low right here, and I like how you're holding that 200 SMA. The SMH has never broken below the 200 SMA in the last few years. If I go out to the 10-year chart, you can see that pretty much every time the SMH has come near that 200 SMA, it has found upside. The last attempt was down here at around 2023. This was the 200 SMA, and since that point, it continued higher. You guys can see right here, we went to the 100 SMA, continued higher. This attempt to the 200 SMA continued higher, and we're at the 200 SMA again. So I'm going to look to see if that moving average does result in some type of a buying opportunity. And yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So keeping an eye on that, 213.50. And if the SMH does bounce off this zone, that's why I believe that Nvidia could be a nice opportunity. Pretty much every semiconductor could be an opportunity. Something I will continue to watch. AMD, you guys can see right here. AMD, keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on this 136 level. Keep an eye on this 132 level. Really, the major level that needs to break is 140. We need to get over 140 on AMD. That's this Friday high. If you can get over 140, then I think you can continue to that 144.50 right here. So watch that 140. That's the big AMD spot. Broadcom, very interested in what Broadcom is doing. Broadcom is also another stock that's holding a major daily low. You guys can see right here. Major daily lows on Broadcom at 130. Right here, right here, right here, right here. 200 SMA, right? And that you can see right here, that hold there, 130, and that 200 SMA. Very nice. I bought more shares of Broadcom yesterday as another exposure to semiconductors. I like how it held that 200 SMA with some strength, and I think there's an opportunity to maybe pick up some shares down here. Nice hold of that 130 after earnings. Nice little hold of the 200. You can see right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and just take some exposure down in the 130s. If I go back to the daily chart, this has been a major spot for pretty much the entire year, and I'll look to see if that creates an opportunity here. So 130, Broadcom, interesting spot, something I'll be watching. Amazon, yeah, another one that I am long overnight. I'll show you guys why. Here's Amazon. Let me zoom out a little bit. So here's your Amazon hourly chart. You guys can see a very nice hold over the 200 SMA yesterday, which is another reason why I held it pretty much the entire day. You can see right here. Really nice holds around that 170. Then it reclaimed the 200 SMA yesterday. We talked about this in the pre-market live stream. We said how Amazon could be a nice long if we hold above the 200. That's exactly what it did. You can see right there, some nice longs. Really, the only key level that we need to break at this point is 179. If we get over 179, we're going to go right back to that gap fill level around that 50 and 100 SMA. So really, the next spot to watch on Amazon is 179. Really nice longs yesterday. Meta really holding this 500 low. I'd be watching that. Watch out for this 510 level. 510, that's a major supply high. Yeah, keep an eye on that. 510 on Meta. If you get above that, more upside. Yeah, Palantir, another long we took yesterday. Where did we take that long? It was the exact retest level we talked about in the live stream. We talked about the 3313, right? We talked about this 3313 in the live stream yesterday morning, and that was the exact level that held intraday. This could not have been a better break and retest long. If I could ever explain the break and retest, it's here right now, if you pay attention for just 1 second. 3313 was the previous major high on the 1 hour chart. That's right here. That's from August 22nd. If we go down to the 5-minute chart and we look at these candles, take a look what happened at that exact high of 3313. That is a break. That is a retest. That is a hold. And when I saw that, I longed Palantir, and the rest is history. So very nice. Break and retest long off the exact 3313 level. And if I go down to the 2-minute chart, you can see it even better. Here's the 2-minute chart. You can see right there, 3313. That was your retest level yesterday. That was your hold level. That was, once again, 4 hour. If I go to the 4 hour chart, the exact previous highs was right here at 3313, which was the exact hold level on the intraday. That is the break and retest. That is using larger term key levels and paying attention to them on the shorter term time frames and using them to set up trade ideas. Very nice. CAVA. I mean, this thing looks like it's going to continue. I would say if you want to be long CAVA, I don't think that's a terrible idea. I think you can stay long CAVA pretty mindlessly here. Obviously, depending on if they decide to, send out some after hours information that totally smacks you, which is what happened to me. But this is a very interesting 110 hold. I like how this has curled back higher. This has really built back in a nice way on CAVA. If I go here to the short-term time frames and I go to the hourly chart, man, this thing has been really clean. So building over 115. After this 110 hold, building over 118. If you can get a hold over 121 today, right, this thing is just stair-stepping really nicely for more upside. If you can hold over 121, I think you're just going to keep this stair-stepping upside move. So I'd watch that 121 today on CAVA. Apple, not a whole lot that I'd do on Apple. Apple just sort of sideways between this 4 hour channel. I would want to move outside of it. 224, 215. Amazon, we went over. Google, I'm not really sure what to think of Google. It's clearly the weakest stock on the stock market. I don't know exactly what's going on with this name. I would have to do a little bit more research into what's driving the weakness. But yeah, this thing's dead. I mean, it has no life in it. So tough one on Google. And I really don't like any levels on Google. I've sort of stopped trading Google because I really just don't even like how it trades. The levels have been sort of not very clear in my opinion. That was sort of a clear one there. That was a clear breakdown there. But from this point, I mean, I would just look to... I think the only trade I'd look to take on Google at this point is a retest rejection of these lows right here. This is about the only trade I'd be interested in right there. Besides that, I got no interest. So I'll just put in a little alert there. Create alert at or above. I'll look to see if it gets back in there. If it does, possible rejection. MU. Yeah, MU is a great trade idea if you think semis continue. It's not going to be as strong as a stock like Nvidia, let's say, right? Because it's not a same type of strength semiconductor. But this MU 85 level is huge. And if you do believe that the SMH, if you start to see the SMH recover off that 200 SMA, if you can see the SMH just pretty much do this, guys, right? Just have a little recovery move off this major low, then yes, I think MU is going to be a nice opportunity off that 85. I think Nvidia will be a nice opportunity off that 100 area. AMD might be a nice opportunity. Broadcom might be a nice opportunity off that 130, right? These are all opportunities that I would be looking for if we do see some recovery on the SMH. That's the big if. Do we get above 221 on SMH? Do we see the semis have some strength back in them? Does the NASDAQ come back, right? Tomorrow probably answers a lot of those questions after CPI. But these are definitely some things I'd be watching, right? This is, guys, when opportunity arises, okay? I like how we've gotten some pullbacks on the market. I like how it's not like pure panic downside. This is not, the market is not, the world is not ending, right? So this is some nice downside to be at least monitoring. Let's see what CPI does tomorrow. Let's get that cleared up. Let's not try to guess CPI. Let's just wait to see what it does. If markets seem to be positively responsive to the CPI tomorrow, and markets seem to be sort of strong post CPI, there is a lot of things out there that if you prepare yourself, there's some money out there, right? I think Nvidia's really nice opportunities. I would say mostly semiconductors would be the spot that I'd watch if that CPI does have a positive move on the market. Now, of course, if it doesn't, then we'll have to continue to look for that downside action. But I am going to start to sort of make sure I have at least an idea of what I'm going to be looking for if the markets do have strength tomorrow. I am making sure that I'm not going to be totally blindsided and not know where my direction is. Right? My direction right now, if I see market strength tomorrow, is without a doubt, where are the semis and is there strength on them? And if so, where's the opportunity? Because that seems to be the sector that has pulled back the most and could present the biggest opportunity. But we shall see. That is for tomorrow. Today, it's just trade the levels, man. Today is just trade the levels. That's all today is. So make sure you're watching them. Right now, the market is holding over that 18,740, meaning that the market is holding above yesterday's highs, right? That is a very key thing to pay attention to. So as of right now, the NASDAQ futures is trading and holding above yesterday's highs. If we hold above yesterday's highs, then I would assume that the market continues to try to push higher into the 18,850, right? You can see right here. Here's yesterday's highs on the NASDAQ futures at 740. And right now, you're trying to hold above it. Let's see if we get it. Let's see if it holds above it. S&P 500 is right at yesterday's highs right now, so let's be aware of that. Very major level there. SPY is sitting right at the 548, 549 rejection and that 50 SMA that I'd be careful of moving forward. All right? Do I get the same access as lifetime member if I join premium? I'm here to learn also. Lifetime, there's no difference between what you get. Lifetime, you just pay once, and premium, you pay monthly. So it's the exact same thing. One is just a one-time pay. One is a monthly payment. I would also make sure that you are there to learn versus just looking for alerts, because I do not just simply send alerts. That is not my game. That is not what I do, and you'll probably be disappointed if you're just coming to be told what to do. Because I do not spend my time. I talked to Carmine last night. Really good conversation with Carmine. Was on the phone with him for about 2 hours last night. Man, guys, we are here to trade, and I'll help you, and I'll do it in front of you live every single day, but and I'll do as much as I can to help. But at the end of the day, it's my trading that's the most important to me. That comes first. To me, trading comes first. So I am not going to just focus on sending out alerts. I don't have the time for that. I don't have the mental capacity for that. If you actually trade, you will understand how mentally difficult it is to do all the extra BS after actually trading. If you guys actually trade on a daily basis, you know the vegetable mind that you get, the absolute mental tiredness that you feel. It is so difficult to do the extra nonsense that you see elsewhere online if you actually risk your own money and trade. So, guys, make sure you know that. This is not a signal service that I provide. I provide the ability for you to watch me trade live every single day. That's what I provide. You can watch me do it live. You can hear what I trade. You can decide to take it if you want, right? You can decide to take it if you want. if you want to follow me, for sure, right? Go ahead. But I am just going to trade my own account. You can watch me second by second, day by day. You can learn from it. But my focus is not what trade am I going to send out to my community members to make sure they make money today. That's not what I'm doing. That's not my build. That's not why I created that thing. All right. All right. So watch the levels. Watch these levels we talked about today, guys. 458. Make sure you pay attention to this today. That is huge. You have to make sure you're cautious here. Please do not be the person that longs into 458 today. Please be cautious here. This is not the level to be aggressively long into today. 458. That is a major rejection point, and that is probably the most important level that I'll be watching today. 458 on the Qs. That is Wednesday's lows. That is Thursday's lows. You do not want to be fully exposed to the longs at that level. Please be aware of 458 today. Use that as your guide. Thank you guys for being here. Sorry about the under the weather, but, I still wanted to show up. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Press that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
I think the girls with their nails